Hello, Orko. How are you?
Yes, sir, fine.
Okay, fine. Acha, today we will do the class of nationalism in India. As you requested me, as you missed the class of nationalism in India in my batch. So we will do the class now. Can we start?
Yes, sir, obviously.
Okay, thank you. Let me share the screen.
Okay, sir.
Can you see the screen?
Yes, sir.
So nationalism, the topic nationalism, you have studied most only of Europe, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this nationalism in India, this nationalism is in India is little different. It is little different in the sense that it goes to India, how the nationalism developed in India and how it grew. Understood? So this is the chapter regarding. So this chapter is mainly on the nationalist movement of India and how they started and how they were against the British, the roles of the Indian freedom movement, and the people and our freedom fighters who took our struggle. Am I properly audible?
Yes, sir.
Am I properly visible?
Yes, sir, also.
Okay, okay. Thank you. Let us start. As you have seen, modern nationalism in Europe came to be associated with the formation of nation state. You understand? You please underline this portion, the formation of nation states, formation of nation states. It also meant a change
Okay,
in
sir.
people's understanding of who they were and what defined their identity and sense of belonging. New symbols and icons, new songs and ideas. You remember the new symbols, I mean the Germania, and new icons of the French Revolution, new songs. One song was formed during French Revolution. You remember? You remember the song? Which song was later identified by their national anthem of France? And ideas forged new links and redefined the boundaries of communities. In most countries, the making of this national identity was a long process. Understood, Orko? In most countries, the making of this new national identity was a long process. How did this consciousness emerge in India? What was the case of India? Understood? What was the case of India
Yes.
that we will study? In India, as in Vietnam and in other colonies, the growth of modern nationalism is intimately connected to the anti-colonial movement. So you please keep that in mind. J national in India, little different from nationalism of Europe. It is like Vietnam. Why it is different? Why it is different? Because in India, the nationalism was connected to anti-colonial movement. You understood? It was related to anti-colonial movement. Understood?
Yes,
This
sir.
was the difference with Europe. This was the difference with Europe. Okay. Achha. People began discovering their unity in the process of their struggle with colonialism. You understand, the sense of being oppressed under colonialism provided a shared bond that tied many different groups together. But each class and group felt the effects of colonialism differently. See, please keep them in mind because we will study them in the chapter. Their experiences were varied and their notions of freedom were not always the same. The Congress under Mahatma Gandhi, Mahatma Gandhi, Mr. M.K. Gandhi, he brought a big change and he was a prominent leader of Congress. We will study that in this chapter. Tried to forge these groups together within one movement, but the unity did not emerge without conflict. Always there were conflict. In an earlier textbook, you have read about the growth of nationalism in India. Acha, you study this. Acha. Now let us come to this point. In this chapter, we will study two movements in detail. In this chapter, we will study how many movements in details?
So two.
Two movements. One is non-cooperation, another is civil disobedience.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Achha.
Yes, sir.
Let's continue. We will explore. Orko, you are enjoying the class. I think that I can be able to make the things clear as you requested.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you. We will explore how the Congress sought to develop the national movement, how different social groups participated in the movement, and how nationalism captured the imagination of people. Okay. Next. Just a second. I will call. Let me take the call. I'm in a meeting. Can you call me 2 hours later? Thank you. Thank you. The First World War, Khilafat and non-cooperation. The First World War, Khilafat and non-cooperation. You can see the screen?
Yes, sir. Clearly.
Yeah. So our first point is the First World War, Khilafat and non-cooperation. First World War, Khilafat and non-cooperation. Okay. Here we will study what were the effects of First World War in India and how the Khilafat started, and that both led to non-cooperation. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I repeat, how the First World War started, how it led to Khilafat movement, and then they both led to what? They both led to non-cooperation movement. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Thank
I
you.
mean, all the things started from the First World War.
All the things started from First World War. Thank you. Let us start. In the years 1919, we see the national movement spreading to new areas, incorporating new social groups and developing new modes of study. How do we understand these developments? What implications did they have? First of all, the war created a new economic and political situation. Which one? The First World War. So the first question of this chapter will be,
Sir, fourth spelling is wrong.
oh,
FIR.
Yeah. Thank you. If it's so fast, typo. Never mind. If it's the First World War on Indian national movements, okay. Let us start.
Yes, sir.
First of all, now you can make if you have the book with you, then you can make the points, I think. Okay. First of all, the war created a new economic and political situation. The whole economic and political situation got changed. It led to huge increase in defense expenditure, which was financed by war loans and increasing taxes. Custom duties were raised and income tax introduced. This is the second point. Understood? So first point was war created a new economic and political situation. The second point was
Yes,
it
sir.
led to a huge increase in defense expenditure. I mean, what is the defense expenditure? Britain was involved in First World War, so they had a defense expenditure. So the defense expenditure which was spent in the war, that was taken from India, that was taken from the pockets of people
India.
of India. Okay, so new custom
Yes.
duties were raised and income tax was introduced. Through the war years, prices increased, doubling between 1913 and 1918, leading to extreme hardship for the common people. So there was an extreme hardship for the common people. Why there was an extreme hardship for the common people? Because during the war years, prices increased and they were double between 1913 and 1918, and it led to an extreme hardship for the common people. You understand?
Yes, sir. Sir, is that the third point?
Is that it is, yeah, it's the third point. I am making the colors different so that it can be easy for you to point out. Okay, next.
Okay.
Villages were called upon to supply the soldiers. Okay, and the forced recruitment in rural areas caused widespread anger. This was the point. Villages were called upon. You know, there was something called forced recruitment. People were recruited in army without their will. Sometimes they were even kidnapped. Sometimes they were even kidnapped from the villages and they were taken to the army. So then the British army, and mostly there were Indian soldiers, and those people were picked up from the villages without their will. Then in 1918 and 1919 and 1920-21, crops failed in many parts of India and resulting in acute shortage of food. There was acute shortage of food. People did not have food. It was a famine-like situation. This was accompanied by an influenza epidemic. Wait, let me make the point a little bigger. In influenza epidemic, and this almost 13 million people, they died in that epidemic. Okay, so these are the points. These are the points you can make. Please make them point out. Effects of the First World War on Indian national movement. Okay. Can we move further?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. People hoped that their hardships would end after the war was over. People always think that after the war, the hardship will come to an end, but it did not happen. At this stage, a new leader appeared and suggested a new mood of struggle. You know that he was the Mahatma Gandhi, M.K. Gandhi. After he returned from South Africa, he entered Indian politics through some events, and now we will study the role of Mahatma Gandhi in Indian national movement. Ready? Let us start.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The idea of Satyagraha. The idea of Satyagraha. Mahatma Gandhi returned to India in January 1915. There can be an MCQ. It is an MCQ question. You can mark it. It's an objective question of 1 mark. When he came back to India, I have seen CBSE questions. This is given. As you know, he had come from South Africa, where he had successfully fought the racist regime with a novel method of mass agitation, which he called Satyagraha. Understood? Like he started his movement in South Africa. He started his movement from South Africa. The idea of Satyagraha emphasized the power of truth and the need to search of truth. Please underline this sentence. So what was the idea of Satyagraha? There will be a question.
Yes, sir.
It suggested that if the cause was true, if the struggle was against injustice, then physical force was not necessary to fight the oppressor. If it means that if our cause is true and we are right from our mind, then the physical force of the oppressor who is trying to oppress us, that physical force cannot succeed. We will succeed. Okay. It suggested that. Sorry, please tell me.
Sir, here, who is the oppressor? The British people who
obviously
tried to.
Obviously, yes, there are two words. One is oppressor, another is oppressed. The person who is torturing, the person who is doing the torture, he is the oppressor, and the person who is getting torture, that known is oppressed. You understand?
Yes,
so here in this case, the British, they were the oppressed, and sorry. The British, they were the
oppressor, and the Indian people were the oppressed.
Oppressed. Thank you. It suggested that if the cause was true, if the struggle was against injustice, then physical force was not necessary to fight the oppressor. Okay. Without seeking vengeance or being aggressive. You don't need to be aggressive. You don't need to be aggressive. Okay. A Satyagrahi would win the.
Sir, what is the meaning of vengeance?
Vengeance means taking revenge, being very aggressive. I will fight with you. I will beat you. I will kill you. This is called seeking vengeance. This is called asking for vengeance. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. This could be done by appealing to the conscience of the oppressor. Conscience of the oppressor means every person has an inner mind. You also have an inner mind. If you are doing any wrong, then if I can make you believe, if I can make you believe that, Orko, you are doing something wrong, then you can understand. I am doing some wrong, then you will not do that wrong thing. Understood? So in Satyagraha, you have to hit, you have to punch on that conscience of that oppressor, not the body of the oppressor. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. People, including the oppressors, had to be persuaded to see the truth instead of being forced to accept truth through the use of violence. So there is no place, no space for the violence. Here, what will happen? You have to understand the role of Satyagraha, the role of truth, the role of the path of truth. By this struggle, truth was bound to ultimately triumph. Mahatma Gandhi believed that this dharma of non-violence could unite all Indians. So he understood that in this way he can unite all the Indians and he can start one national movement. Mahatma Gandhi understood that by this he can start one national movement. Understand? He understood that by using Satyagraha, he can start a nationwide movement by which he can throw the British away from India.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Next panel. After arriving in India, Mahatma Gandhi successfully organized Satyagraha movements in various places. There will be questions or go. See how the questions. Okay.
Yes, sir.
First question. 1916. Champaran.
Sir, actually, sir, in my book that is 1917. The year.
Actually, also what you know, my other students, they also say that in class 10, it differs from book to book. It differs from book to book. So whatever it is right. Just a second. Let me take water. (1916) Champaran Satyagraha in Bihar to inspire the peasants to struggle against the oppressive plantation system. You know, there were indigo planters. So he inspired the British to struggle against the oppressive plantation system. Then in 1917, he organized a Satyagraha to support the Khera district of Gujarat. So in what did he do in 1917?
Khera district of Gujarat.
It was in Gujarat.
Yes, sir.
Next, affected to crop failure, the peasants of Khera could not pay the revenue and were demanding the revenue collection be relaxed. Next, this is continued with Khera. You understand? This is continued with Khera. In 1918, Mahatma Gandhi went to Ahmedabad to organize a Satyagraha movements against cotton milk workers. Sorry, not against Ahmed. You understand? In 1918, he went to Ahmedabad to start a Satyagraha against the cotton mill workers. So here will be questions. 1916 Champaran Satyagraha, 1917 Khera Satyagraha, 1918 Ahmedabad Satyagraha. Next, when Mahatma Gandhi understood by this success of those Satyagraha movements, mostly in Champaran, Khera, and Ahmedabad, he understands that now the time has come to start a movement against the British. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So next comes the Rowlatt Act. It had a big impact. It had a big impact on the Indians. Rowlatt Act. Emboldened with this success, Gandhiji in 1919 decided to launch a nationwide Satyagraha against the proposed Rowlatt Act. Gandhiji, what did he do? He started a movement against the Rowlatt Act. This act had been hurriedly passed through the Imperial Legislative Council despite the united opposition of the Indian members. Hurriedly passed means this movement was quickly passed without wasting any time, because at the time
Yes.
the British, they wanted to suppress the Indians, and through the Imperial Legislative Council means there were at that time there were legislature, like as we today have the parliament and the state legislative assemblies. So it was passed in those assemblies, though the united members, they opposed that passing of Rowlatt Act. Understood? So it gave
Yes,
the
sir.
government enormous powers to repress political activities and allow detention of political prisoners without trial for 2 years. Mahatma Gandhi wanted non-violent civil disobedience against such unjust law, which would start with a hartal on 6th April. Understood? So Mahatma Gandhi said that why should we stand? We will start one Satyagraha movement. We will start one non-violent movement against Rowlatt Act, and there will be a hartal. Hartal, you mean like today's strike? Okay.
Sir,
So-
can you mean the para again?
Yeah. No problem. Emboldened with this success, Gandhiji in 1919 decided to launch a nationwide Satyagraha against the Rowlatt Act. So the first question will be Rowlatt Act. First question. What the Rowlatt Act was. Next question. What power the Rowlatt Act gave to the British? Okay. This was passed through Imperial Legislative Council despite the united opposition of the Indian members. It gave the government enormous powers to repress political activities, to suppress the political activities, and allowed detention of political prisoners without trial for 2 years. That means that the British, they can keep the prisoners, the political prisoners in the jail without any trial for 2 years. Mahatma Gandhi wanted non-violent civil disobedience against such unjust laws, which would start with a hartal on 6th April. Understood?
Sir, one second. Sir, the Rowlatt Act was passed by Gandhiji or Britishers?
Obviously Britishers. It is a foolish question. Understood? How one Indian can pass a Rowlatt Act which will give huge power to the British against the Indians? Understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So, sir, how Gandhiji, what Satyagraha Gandhiji launched against this?
Gandhiji said that we will make the British feel that Rowlatt Act is against Indians, and we will not allow the British to continue with the Rowlatt Act. How? So they started to make a hartal. Hartal means it's like a strike of today. It is like today's strike. So in hartal, what happens? Hartal mein kya hota hai ke you will stop everything. The shops will be closed. The Indians, they will not come out in the streets. With this, they will make the British understand that, see, we are protesting against the Rowlatt Act. It was a protest. It was a non-violent protest, which was the basic of Satyagraha of Mahatma Gandhi. You got me, Orko?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So how the protest was? Rallies were organized in various cities. Workers went on strike in railway workshops, and shops closed down. Workers went on strike and shops closed down. Alarmed by the popular upsurge and scared that lines of communication such as the railways and telegraph would be disrupted, the British administration decided to clamp down the nationalists. What is the meaning of clamp down? They will force the Indian nationalists not to take part in the movement. You understand?
Means they will not allow them to do the strike, right?
Yeah. Local leaders were picked up from Amritsar. At that time in Amritsar, there was a movement going on. So the local leaders were picked up from Amritsar, and Mahatma Gandhi was barred from entering Delhi. He was not allowed to enter Delhi. On 10th April, the police in Amritsar fired upon a peaceful procession, provoking widespread attacks on banks, post offices, and railway stations. Okay, there were huge attacks on railway station, banks, and railway stations. Martial law was imposed, and General Dyer took command. Please keep the name in mind, General Dyer. He was a ruthless British officer and he was responsible for the death of many Indian men. And we will discuss later. So what is martial law? Martial law is like one law which is imposed during the war, and with that martial law, there is no civic rights and no one can take part in any movement. You understand?
Oh, mean after if someone takes the part in a movement, then he or she will be
Arrested
jailed.
and put behind the bars. That is known as martial
Yes,
law.
yes.
Actually, the
Yes,
the martial law, they are introduced in various countries during the war and the emergency like situations to stop all type of activities against the government. You understand?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Next. 13th April, the infamous Jallianwala Bagh incident took place. Very, very important question. Jallianwala Bagh incident. Actually, it's a bagh. It means it's a garden. It is in Amritsar city. Okay. On the day, a large crowd gathered in the enclosed ground of Jallianwala Bagh. Some came to protest against the government's new repressive measures. Others had come to attend the annual Baisakhi fair. Okay, others they have come to attend the annual Baisakhi fair. Being from outside the city, many villagers were unaware of the martial law that had been imposed. Okay, there was a martial law that they did not know that. Dyer entered the area, blocked the exit points, and opened fire on the crowd, killing hundreds. His object, as he declared later, was to produce a moral effect to create in the minds of Satyagrahis a feeling of terror and awe. This is the Jallianwala Bagh movement. He killed hundreds of people, and there were, do you know, there were women and children too in the Jallianwala Bagh. And who did that? General Dyer. Actually, Jallianwala Bagh is an enclosed area with high walls. You can properly hear me, Orko?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I think you find the class interesting.
Yes, sir. Obviously.
Thank you. So his object, as he declared later, was to produce a moral effect to create in the minds of Satyagrahi. So later, when there was an inquiry commission, General Dyer was asked, "Why did you do that? Why did you do that?" So then he said that I did that to create a fear among the Indians, to stop them from making any movement. Understood?
Yes.
As the news of Jallianwala Bagh spread, crowds took to the streets in many North Indian towns. Indians became very angry because the Indians, they have been insulted, they have been killed, they have been humiliated in Amritsar. There were strikes, clashes with the police, and attacks on government buildings. The government responded with brutal repression, seeking to humiliate and terrorize people. The British, they were humiliating and terrorizing people. Satyagrahis were forced to rub their noses on the ground, crawl on the streets, and do salam to all sahibs. People were flogged, and villages around Gujranwala in Punjab, now in Pakistan, were bombed. So these are the ways how the British, they suppressed the movement. So the next question will be, how the Indians stood against Jallianwala Bagh incident. Next question will be, you got the questions?
Yes, sir. Sir, against got missed in the last question.
Yeah, I can.
Against.
This one, how the British suppressed the Indian movement against Jallianwala Bagh incident.
No. Sir. Previous that.
How the
Indians
Indians
stood
against Jallianwala Bagh incident. This one.
One second, sir. Okay, sir.
Can we proceed?
Yes, sir.
While the Rowlatt Satyagraha had been a widespread movement, it was still limited mostly in cities and towns. So Rowlatt Satyagraha was mostly limited to cities and towns. Mahatma Gandhi now felt the need to launch a more broad-based movement in India, but he was certain that no such movement could be organized without bringing the Hindus and the Muslims closer together. So he wanted to bring the Hindus and Muslims together. Okay, one way of doing this, he felt, was to take up the Khilafat issue. Now it is a very new thing in this chapter, the Khilafat issue. Orko, you can hear me properly?
Yes, sir.
The First World War had ended with the defeat of Ottoman Turkey. You remember the First World War? In the First World War, Turkey was defeated, and this was under the ruler of Ottoman Turkey. And there were rumors that a harsh peace treaty was to be imposed on the Ottoman Empire, the spiritual head of the Islamic world, the Khalifa. You understand? So there was a rumor all over the world among the Muslims that one harsh peace treaty will be imposed on Khalifa. Who was the Khalifa? Orko, who was the Khalifa?
So the Islamic leader actually.
The Islamic leader, thank you. The Islamic spiritual head of the Islamic world, the Khalifa. To defend the Khalifa's temporal powers, that means the Indians, all over the world, the Muslims, they wanted to bring back the power to Khalifa. So they started one movement all over the world, knowing the Khilafat movement. To defend the Khalifa's temporal powers, a Khilafat committee was formed in Bombay in March 2019. So there will be a question on the Khilafat committee. How the Khilafat committee was formed? In Bombay in March 1990, a young generation of Muslim leaders like the brothers Muhammad Ali and Shaukat Ali began discussing with Mahatma Gandhi about the possibility of a united mass action on the issue. So please remember the names of those leaders, Muhammad Ali and Shaukat Ali. Muhammad Ali and Shaukat Ali. They were the Muslim leaders of Khilafat movement. They began discussing with Mahatma Gandhi about the possibility of a united mass action on the issue. Gandhiji saw this as an opportunity to bring Muslims under the umbrella of a unified national movement. So what did he do? Mahatma Gandhi wanted to bring this movement under one umbrella. He wanted that the Hindus and Muslims will be together. Let me explain again. Mahatma Gandhi wanted to join the two movements. One is the Khilafat movement and there is the non-commercial movement. Understood? So by this, he wanted that the Khilafat movement will be with the non-commercial movement and the Hindus and Muslims will come under one umbrella. Understood?
Yes. Sir, if the question asks that why Mahatma Gandhi standed against the Khalifa actually?
No, not standard against the Khalifa. He not standard, stood. Why the Mahatma Gandhi stood by Khalifa to support him, right? Because he
yes.
So he understood that if he stood by Khalifa, if he wanted to help Khalifa, then definitely he will get the support of the Muslims, right?
Yes.
Understood. So to bring the Hindus and Muslims under one umbrella, he took the Khilafat issue. Began discussing with Mahatma Gandhi about the possibility of a united mass action on this issue. Gandhiji saw this as an opportunity to bring Muslims under the umbrella of a unified national movement. At the Calcutta session of the Congress in 1970, this is very important. Question. role of Calcutta session of the Congress in September 1920. He convinced other leaders that of the need to start a non-cooperation movement in support of the Khilafat as well as for the Swaraj. So in Calcutta session of Congress in 1920 September, he convinced other leaders that there should be a movement against the British. You understand?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay. So can we have a 5 minutes break, please?
Yes, sir.